At the beginning of the story, a lady teacher enters a classroom to teach, but none of the boys in the class pay her any attention or even greet her with a good morning, which feels very odd to her. To address this, she asks everyone to stand up, but no one takes her seriously. When she gets angry and commands them to be silent, all the students rise to attack her. This sight terrifies the teacher accompanying her. One of the students throws a ball at her, unaware that the teacher is actually a Yakuza commander. The teacher catches the ball and throws it back at the boy with such force that he is thrown far back. Seeing this, all the boys become frightened, but they still do not take her seriously or listen to her. The teacher then threatens to deduct their marks, which shocks everyone, and this scene cuts here. The film begins with a scene at an airport where a plane has just landed, but it is revealed that the plane has been hijacked with over 100 people on board. Outside the airport, special forces are preparing to attack the hijackers, waiting only for orders. Meanwhile, there is extensive media coverage, and the entire operation is being broadcast live on TV. High-ranking officials observing the situation feel extremely panicked because the hijackers have demanded $100 million in cash and a helicopter to escape safely. However, the government is adamant about not letting them go under any circumstances. Inside the plane, everyone is terrified, except for a girl who is asleep. When she wakes up and learns about the hijacking, she does not show any fear. Her name is Yin Komi. She mutters something, which annoys the girls sitting next to her as they try to hush her. But instead, Yin starts speaking louder as if nothing has happened. This draws the attention of the hijackers toward her. One hijacker points a gun at her, but it does not faze her. Instead of being scared, she gets angry at them. The armed men rush to attack her, but suddenly the sound of gunfire is heard inside the plane. Hearing this, the special forces and commanders advance toward the plane. As they approach, the exit door of the plane opens. All the soldiers are shocked to see that the hijackers are on their knees, and behind them is Yin Komi, who had already defeated them. The entire nation watches this live on TV. Initially, everyone suspects that she might be one of the robbers, and this is some kind of trick. Yin clarifies that she is not a robber. Yin Komi's heroic act goes viral through the live telecast. The next scene shows Yin Komi at her home, where her family, consisting only of males except for her, celebrates her bravery and patriotism. They tell her how proud they are of her. It is revealed that Yin Komi is no ordinary girl. She is actually a Yakuza commander. When she was young, her parents passed away, and she lived with her grandfather. As the last heir of the Yakuza gang after her grandfather, she kept this a secret from the outside world. Even though she was a math teacher at a high school, no one knew about her family's Yakuza ties, as they kept their work very discreet. The following day, when Yin Komi arrives at school, she notices her colleagues discussing and praising the recent plane hijacking rescue activity. At that moment, the principal arrives and takes Yin Komi aside, advising her to avoid attracting attention through such major news stories, as it could expose her real identity as a Yakuza commander. Yin agrees with the principal and assures him that it won't happen again. At this point, a new trainee teacher named Odagiri is introduced. It turns out that Odagiri is one of Yin Komi's former students. When Oda was in high school, Yin Komi was his teacher. She feels happy that her students are becoming teachers and following in her footsteps. However, she becomes upset when Oda tells her that he is only taking this teaching job because he couldn't find any other work and has no intention of becoming a proper teacher. In the next scene, Yin Komi takes Odagiri to his class and introduces him to the students. Oda is shocked to see that the students do not respect Yin Komi. They ignore her and do not take her seriously. Yin Komi decides to follow the school rules and invites the students to the ground to get to know Odagiri better. However, no students show up, leaving Yin Komi feeling upset and embarrassed in front of Odagiri. The scene shifts to 5 students on the school terrace, led by Rian. Rian discusses with his friends why Odagiri suddenly came back to their school as a teacher. Since Odagiri was quite naughty and mischievous as a student, they suspect something fishy. In another scene, some boys are having lunch at a cafe when 2 other boys come in and tell them that they saw Yin Komi with Odagiri. These boys were former students of Yin Komi. Everyone is shocked as they cannot believe that Yin Komi could have a boyfriend. They continue gossiping until Yin Komi enters the cafe with Odagiri, leaving them stunned and causing them to hide their faces. When Yin Komi notices them, she introduces Odagiri to them, clarifying that he is just a new teacher at the school. Realizing that Odagiri is not her boyfriend, they start joking again, saying that Yin Komi could never attract someone as good-looking as Oda. Hearing such remarks about herself, Yin Komi feels bad and scolds them. However, Oda stops her from doing so. To lighten the mood, Yin Komi treats them to lunch, which makes everyone happy. During the conversation, They share their stories about what they have been up to since graduation. One boy admits that they never thought Yin Komi would be able to continue teaching and expected her to quit soon. They express surprise at her success, unlike themselves, who are still directionless. Hearing this, Yin Komi gets slightly emotional, and they calm her down. In another scene, we see Rian's friends walking along a roadside when a motorcycle gang arrives and starts bullying them, even trying to take their money. Seeing this, Rian intervenes and tells the gang members to leave his friends alone. The gang members dismiss him as just a kid, but Rian manages to fight them off easily. However, the gang members threaten to take revenge before leaving. That evening, Yin Komi invites Odagiri to her home for dinner, where she introduces him to her family. She shares her dream of inviting her students for dinner, feeling very happy. She ends up drinking a lot and falls asleep. During this time, Odagiri talks to her grandfather and reveals that Yin Komi was the reason he became a teacher. Though Yin Komi can be a bit annoying, she taught him many life lessons and inspired him to work hard in high school. The next day, while heading to school, Yin Komi encounters two former students who used to be mischievous and funny during school days. They inform her that they have turned their lives around and are now doing much better. Meanwhile, a motivational program is being held by a successful IT businessman giving a speech. When Yin Komi looks closely, she notices that the man resembles her ex-lover. Initially, she assumes he is her former lover, but soon realizes that he is Suchin, the richest man in Japan, running for governor to increase his influence. Yin Komi feels delighted and declares her strong support for his campaign, helping him gain more supporters. Back at the school, the motorcycle gang returns, looking to take revenge on Rian. The gang, known as the Black Skull, is the most dangerous gang in Japan. Their activities terrify the teachers, prompting the principal to call the police for help. Hearing the police sirens, the gang decides to leave for now, but vows to return to settle scores with Rian. In the next scene, the principal calls Rian and his friends to his office, scolds them, and demands a detailed account of the fight. But everyone claimed that the motorcycle gang first demanded money from them and then beat them up when they refused. When they still didn't comply, the gang started robbing them, and that's when Rian stepped in to save them. However, the principal did not believe their words at all. But Nakum helped them by saying that they were telling the truth, because if they were lying, it would have shown in their eyes. Hearing this, the principal decided to let the matter go, reasoning that there was no point in fighting gangsters. Yin Komi expressed her dissatisfaction with this decision, and the principal warned her that if her students created any trouble or issues in the future, she would be fired from her job. Back in the classroom, Rian and his friends felt bad about the situation. They realized that Yin Komi had put her job on the line for them. Since they didn't want to cause her any more trouble, Rian decided to end this issue once and for all. He set out to confront the motorcycle gang at their hideout. His friends tried to stop him, but he ignored them and left. A little later, Yin Komi entered the classroom with Odagiri, and she learned that Rian had gone to fight the gang. Hearing this, she became furious with her students, questioning why they let him go and didn't stop him from going alone. Nakum decided to go and rescue Rian, while Odagiri reminded his friends that if they were true friends, they should stand by Rian no matter what. In the next scene, we see Rian arriving at the hideout of the Black Skull gang. He warned them to stay away from his school for their own good and challenged the gang leader to a one-on-one fight. However, the gang leader rejected his offer, and everyone started attacking him. Rian could not handle so many people on his own and began to get beaten up. Just then, a wall broke, and there was a heroic entry by none other than Yin Komi. The gang members didn't listen to her and attacked her instead, but they underestimated Yin Komi as she began to take them down one by one. However, soon the gang members overpowered her. At that moment, Odagiri arrived and helped Yin Komi. Together, they fought and beat the gang members so badly that they were forced to flee. By this time, Rian's friends had also arrived to help him. They thanked Yin Komi and Odagiri for their efforts. Rian seemed a bit confused as to how an ordinary teacher could fight so well. Yin Komi explained to him that she was able to do all this because she cared deeply about her students at any cost. The next morning, Sharia and the other boys began to respect Yin Komi and greeted her with a good morning. This made Yin Komi very happy, as her students had finally started valuing her. In the following scene, some police officers arrived at the school. Yin Komi was surprised, thinking they were there because of the fight with the gang the previous day. But the police revealed that one of her students, named Sung, was involved in drug dealing and was on the run from the authorities. The officers explained that they had found Sung's wallet at the scene of a drug delivery crime, and that he had been evading them since last night. They asked Yin Komi to inform them immediately if Sung was spotted anywhere. Yin Komi could not believe that Sung could be involved in a drug case. She was convinced that there had to be another explanation behind this. Before the police could find him, she decided to search for him herself. As Yin Komi set out to find Sung, she came across some of Sung's friends, who were also looking for him. They decided to split into groups to search for him. However, even after an entire day of searching, they couldn't find him. In the next scene, we finally see Sung, who was injured. Yin Komi was calling him, but he chose not to answer her calls and instead cut them off, fearing he might put her in trouble. Just then, a police car arrived, prompting him to hide under a bridge. Later that evening, Odajirai was heading home when he heard a noise in the classroom. When he went to check, he found Sung hiding there. Soon after, Yin Komi and the other students arrived. They asked Sung why he wasn't answering their calls, to which he replied that he didn't want to put them in any trouble. He then explained everything that had happened to him. Recently, he had started a delivery job and was tasked with delivering some packages. He had no idea what was inside them. The previous night, one of the packages accidentally fell and broke open. The packages contained figurines, but when they broke, packets of drugs were revealed inside. The goons present there began to beat him up, but just then, the police arrived. The goons fled with the packets, and Sung also ran away. However, his wallet fell at the scene, and the police found it. Since then, they had been searching for him. Hearing this, Yin Komi asked him why he needed the job. He explained that he was earning money to pay for his sister's school fees. After learning everything, Yin Komi assured him that he was not at fault and promised to save him at any cost. She told Sung and his friends to stay at her house for the time being. In the next scene, everyone was at Yin Komi's house. Yin Komi asked her associates to find out everything about the drug dealing case. Later, they informed her that the mastermind behind the illegal business was none other than Sachin, who was known across the country as a motivational speaker and successful businessman, similar to someone like Vivek Bindra in our country. Since Sachin was not only extremely wealthy, but also had strong political connections, taking him down and exposing his crimes was incredibly challenging. Hearing this, Yin Komi became furious and vowed to expose Sachin's crimes to the public. Sung and his friends overheard this and decided to handle the matter themselves, so Yin Komi wouldn't be put in danger. The next day, Sung and his friends went to Sachin's headquarters to find evidence against him. That day, a major seminar was being held, so most of his team would be preoccupied, giving them an opportunity to search the headquarters. Meanwhile, Yin Komi and Odajirai also made their way to the same location. When they arrived, they saw many reporters preparing to broadcast Sachin's seminar live. Both of them attempted to enter Sachin's room. Meanwhile, Sung and his friends found a room full of boxes containing the same drugs. Just then, Sachin's men spotted them and were about to shoot them when Nakam arrived and fought them off, ultimately defeating them. At the same time, Sachin began delivering his speech, which was being broadcast live. He promised that if elected governor, he would transform the city, eliminate unemployment, and make it a better place. While he was speaking, Yin Komi appeared in front of him and started exposing his crimes to everyone. During this, one of her students, who was there as part of the broadcasting team, began live-streaming the drug-filled room where Sachin had hidden the drugs. Seeing this, all of Sachin's followers became terrified and fled the seminar. Furious, Sachin ordered his men to kill Yin Komi. Outside, a large police force had already arrived, along with Rian and his friends. However, the police prevented them from entering the premises. Inside, Yin Komi was fighting Sachin's men and eventually managed to defeat them all. At this point, Sachin pointed a gun at her, accusing her of ruining his life. However, she advised him to surrender. She said some things that made Sachin emotional, and just then, the special forces arrived. They were about to shoot Sachin, but Yin Komi stopped them, saying that he had now changed. Instead of shooting him, they arrested him. The whole country was amazed by Yin Komi's bravery. The next day, Yin Komi had become a celebrity, receiving praise from all the teachers and the principal for her courage. Back in class, she invited her students to play the kick the can game. This time, the entire class came outside to play at her request, which made her very happy. They all began playing the game together. And friends, this is where the movie ends. If you liked our story, please like and subscribe to our channel.